Good morning, students. How are you? I hope you all are very fine. In the last class, I have discussed about the inertia and the mass, that is the relation between inertia and mass, and momentum. Okay. So one thing I forgot to discuss, that is, remember, momentum is a vector quantity. Momentum is a vector quantity. Okay. It's a vector quantity. That means momentum as magnitude as well as the direction. Okay. Acha. The momentum is equals to mass into velocity. Mass into velocity. So the direction of velocity will be the direction of momentum. Okay. Acha. Now today I will start Newton's second law of motion. What is Newton's second law of motion? First see the statement very carefully. The rate of change of momentum of a body. The rate of change of momentum. Achha, rate of change means what? Rate of change of momentum means change in momentum per unit time. Change in momentum per unit time. That means change in momentum upon time or total time, whatever. Okay, that is called the rate of change of momentum. Okay, so see, what is the Newton's second law of motion? The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the unbalanced force. This is force. Unbalanced force acting on the body. Acting on the that means from the Newton's second law we will get the magnitude of the force or the value of the force, and the change in momentum takes place in the direction of the unbalanced force on the body. Clear? That means here also say, if unbalanced force is applied, then the momentum will be changed. And what will be the direction of change in momentum? In the direction, along the direction of the unbalanced force. Along the direction of the unbalanced force. That means, which will be the direction of unbalanced force? That will be the direction of change in momentum. Because I said the momentum is a vector quantity. Okay. I am again telling, the rate of change of momentum of a body. The rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the unbalanced force. Is directly proportional to the unbalanced force acting on the body. Okay. And the change in momentum takes place in the direction of the unbalanced force on the body. Clear? So from here we can get the value of the force. Okay. Acha. Let us consider dP is the, here dP means, here I am representing the dP as change in momentum. dP means change in momentum. And dt means time. dt means time. Time taken for the change. Okay. dt means time. So according to Newton's second law, if F is the applied unbalanced force, then F proportional to dP upon dt. See, the rate of change in momentum. Rate of change means change in momentum per unit time. That means change in momentum upon time. Change in momentum dP upon time dt is directly proportional to the unbalanced force. Directly proportional to the unbalanced force acting on the body. Okay. And the direction, that means the change in momentum takes place in the direction of the unbalanced force. That means the direction of the force and the direction of the change in momentum will be same. So this is the Newton's second law. Okay. Now you know we can represent the Newton's second law as F is equals to ma. Now I will derive this formula. Derive this formula. So mathematical formation of Newton's second law. Okay, mathematical formation. See how we will get this. Achha, let us consider there is an object having mass m. There is an object having mass m. Okay. Okay. This object is moving with uniform velocity u. This object is moving with a uniform velocity u. Okay. Acha, according to Newton's first law, we know if there is no force acting, that means if there is no external force, the object will move in a straight line with constant force or uniform speed. That means if there is no force, the object will move in a speed u in a straight line. Okay. Acha. Now, here let us consider I am applying a force. Here a force is applied, external force. Suppose F is the external force applied. So if the force is applied, then we know effects of the force. The speed will be changed. The speed will be changed. So say if external force is applied, then the speed will be changed. Let us consider a force F is changed for a time t. For a time t, and the velocity of the object is changed from u to v. This is v. Yeah? U to v, and time taken for this case is t. Time taken for this case is t. That means let us consider an object having mass m, which is moving with initial velocity u. Let a force F is applied on the body for the time t. For the time t, then the velocity of the body becomes v after time t. Okay, that means we can say v is the final velocity. So that means u is the initial velocity, v is the final velocity, t is the time taken to change in velocity. Okay, m is the mass, and F is the external force applied or unbalanced force. Obviously, remember this is the unbalanced force. Okay, because we know for the balanced forces or for the balanced force, the object do not change its position. Object doesn't change its position. Okay. Acha. Now, initial momentum. What will be the initial momentum? Acha. What was the formula for the momentum? Momentum is equals to P is equals to m into v. M into v. That means mass into velocity. Acha. Mass of the of any object. Mass of any object doesn't change. Mass of any object doesn't change. So mass, initial mass m, final mass m. That means mass is always same. Initial velocity u, final velocity v. So what will be the initial momentum? Mass into initial velocity. That means m into u. Mass into initial velocity, because mass doesn't change, but u is the initial velocity. Final momentum, m into v, mass into final velocity. Mass into final velocity. Achha, here I am representing this as pi, pf. Pi means initial momentum. Pf means final momentum. Okay. Achha. Now see Newton's second law. Force directly proportional to change in momentum. That means we can say force proportional to change in momentum upon time. So force is change in momentum. Achha, now I will find change in momentum. Change in momentum is equals to what? Change means final minus initial. Final minus initial. So what is final? MB. And what is initial? MU. MU. Achha, M common. So V minus U. Okay. And time T. So according to Newton's second law, we can write force F proportional to M into V minus U upon T. Because force is equals to proportional to what? Proportional to change in momentum upon time. So change in momentum m into v minus u, m into v minus u upon time, time taken t. Here force is applied for the time t, so that the velocity changes from u to v. Okay, so this represents change in momentum, m into v minus u. See, change in momentum, final momentum minus initial momentum. Final momentum mb, initial mu. So m common v minus u. So this is the change in momentum. F proportional to change in momentum upon time. Rate of change of momentum directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. Rate of change means change in momentum upon time. So change in momentum m into v minus u and time t. So m into v minus u upon t. From here we can write a proportional to m v minus u upon t. V minus u upon t. Now we know from first equation of motion, first equation of motion, a v is equals to u plus at, v is equals to u plus at. From here we can write a is equals to v minus u upon t. You know that acceleration is equals to what? Acceleration is equals to change in rate of change of velocity, rate of change of velocity, final velocity minus initial velocity upon time, final velocity minus initial upon time. This is the acceleration. So if I put this value here, we will get F proportional to ma, F proportional to ma. Now proportionality, if we remove the proportionality, then we have to bring a constant. Let us consider K is the proportionality constant. K is the proportionality constant. K is the proportionality constant. Now see, if F is equals to 1, m is equals to 1 and a is equals to 1, then I will get k is equals to 1. That means experimentally we get k is equals to 1. Okay, so from this relation we can write F is equals to m into a. This relation is very important. Mathematical form of Newton's second law. Mathematical form of second law. That means force acting on an object is directly proportional to its mass and its acceleration. Force directly proportional to mass and acceleration. Okay, this is also the Newton's second law. Force proportional to rate of change of momentum per unit time. Force proportional to rate of change of momentum or the change in momentum per unit time, or you can say force directly proportional to mass and the acceleration. But this is actually the statement of Newton's second law. Okay, from here we will get this. This is the mathematical form. From the mathematical form we can say force directly proportional to mass and force directly proportional to acceleration of the object. Okay, we know force is a vector quantity and acceleration is a vector quantity. So in vector form we can write it as m into a, like this, because always remember any vector quantity can be represented by using arrow above the symbol. Okay, not above the m, because m is a scalar quantity, mass is a scalar quantity. So this is the vector form. This is the vector form of Newton's second law. Vector form. Okay. Now I will deduce the Newton's first law of motion from Newton's second law of motion. Newton's first law of motion from Newton's second law of motion. See how. What is the Newton's second law? According to Newton's second law, F is equals to m into m. This is the Newton's second law. F is equals to m into m. Okay. Put the value of a. A is equals to v minus u upon t. So m into a is equals to, we can write m into v minus u upon t. From here we will get if u is equals to v. If u is equals to v, then v minus u will be 0. If u is equals to v, that means if initial velocity is equals to final velocity, then v minus u is equals to 0. That means from then we will get F is equals to 0. F is equals to 0. That means we can say no force is required. No force is required to move a body with constant velocity. Initial velocity is equals to final velocity. What does this mean? Initial velocity is equals to final velocity means the velocity is constant or uniform motion. That means no force is required to move a body with constant velocity or uniform velocity. Clear everybody? Clear? Clear? So we can say this is the Newton's first law. What was the Newton's first law? What was Newton's first law? Every object, another thing. From here, if f is equals to 0, then if u is equals to 0, then u is equals to b. That means if u is equals to 0, then b is also 0. Listen, these are the two possible cases when if f is equals to 0. When u is equals to b, f is equals to 0. Or we can say if f is equals to 0, then u is equals to b. And if u is equals to 0, then b is also 0 because u is equals to b. And these two cases possible if f is equals to 0. That means if there is no force, f0 is no force. If there is no force, u is equals to b. Initial velocity is equals to final velocity. That means uniform motion. And u is equals to 0, v is equals to 0. That means the object is at rest. And these two possible cases when rest and uniform velocity. When if f is equals to 0, that means no external force is applied. This was the Newton's first law. I am telling the statements once again. Everybody continues in his state. Everybody continues in his state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line. If or unless compelled by some external force. That means if the external force is 0, then object remains in the same state. That means if there is no external force, speed will remain constant and the rest object remains rest. That is the Newton's first law. That means using Newton's second law, we can get the Newton's first law of motion. Clear? See now, if u is equals to v, that means initial velocity is equals to final velocity. That means velocity is constant. That means uniform velocity. When if f is equals to 0, when f is equals to 0, then u is equals to b. And when u is equals to 0, then v is equals to also 0 because u is equals to b. That means constant motion or constant speed or rest. This is the uniform velocity. This is uniform velocity case, uniform motion in a straight line. And this is rest. And these two possible cases when f is equals to 0, that means if there is no external force, the object will remain at rest or any moving object move in uniform motion. That is the Newton's first law. That is, we can deduce the Newton's first law of motion using Newton's second law of motion. Okay. Next, unit of force. We know F is equals to m into m. Force is equals to mass into acceleration. So unit of force is equals to unit of mass into unit of acceleration. What is the unit of mass? First I am writing the SI. First SI unit. Mass kg. SI unit of mass kg. SI unit of acceleration meter per second square or meter second to the power minus 2 or kg meter per second square. This is also called Newton. In short, capital N. Full form Newton. Newton. And CGS unit of force. CGS unit of force is equals to unit of mass into acceleration. CGS unit of mass gram and acceleration centimeter second to the power minus 2. Or we can write this is called dyne. So SI unit of force Newton or kg meter per second square. CGS unit of force dyne or gram centimeter per second square. Clear everybody? Clear? Okay. Now the definition of Newton. See. F is equals to m into a. Now, if suppose mass m is equals to 1 kg and acceleration a is equals to 1 meter per second square, then what you will get? F is equals to 1 Newton. Clear? So from here we can get the definition. So what is the definition? The force is said 1 Newton. The force is said 1 Newton if it produces 1 meter per second square acceleration in a body of 1 kg mass. Clear everybody? Clear everybody? The force is called 1 Newton if it produces 1 meter per second square acceleration in a body of 1 kg mass. That means if mass is equals to 1 kg, A is equals to, that means here I have put the SI values, unit SI values, 1 kg, 1 meter per second square, then F is equals to 1. See na, if M is equals to 1, then A is equals to 1, then 1 into 1 must be 1. So F is equals to 1. Okay, mass into acceleration. So that means then F is equals to 1 Newton. So force is called 1 Newton if it produces acceleration 1 meter per second square acceleration in a body of 1 kg mass. Similarly, you can get the definition of dyne. If M is equals to then 1 gram, acceleration is equals to 1 centimeter per second square, then F is equals to 1 dyne. So from here we can say force is called 1 dyne if it produces 1 centimeter per second square acceleration in an object of 1 gram mass. Clear? Same definition. Say only what is the difference? SI unit will be replaced by the CGS units. So force is called 1 dyne if it produces 1 centimeter per second square acceleration in an object having mass 1 gram. Clear everybody? And 1 Newton is also called 1 kg meter per second square. 1 dyne is also called 1 gram per second square. Okay. One thing I want to say, the last thing, the relation between Newton and dyne. The relation between Newton and dyne. Relation, huh? Relation between Newton and dyne. What is the relation between Newton and dyne? Okay, I can write the relation in single line, but here I am just writing. Okay, acha, 1 Newton is equals to what? 1 kg meter per second square. Now convert these SI units in CGS units. 1 kg means 1 kg is equals to 10 to the power 3 gram. 1 meter is equals to 10 square centimeter. Second square CGS unit second and also SI unit second. That means second square will be second square. I mean second to the power minus 2. No change in the unit of time. There is no change in the unit of time. Okay. 10 to the power 3 into 10 to the power 2 gram centimeter second. Here I have written the units together. Okay, together. So gram centimeter per second square. Gram centimeter per second square. This is called the dyne. So 10 to the power 3 into 10 to the power 2 means power will be added 10 to the power 5 dyne. So what is the relation between Newton and dyne? 1 Newton is equals to 10 to the power 5 dyne. This is the relation between Newton and dyne. That means relation between SI unit and CGS unit of force. Okay, clear? Okay. So understand how I have done this? Kg, convert kg to gram and convert meter to centimeter. Here I have not converted second into any other unit because we know SI and CGS both the units of time are second. That's why second will remain second. Now 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power 2. Power will be added 10 to the power 5. Gram centimeter per second square means dyne. Okay. So 1 Newton is equals to 10 to the power 5 dyne. Okay. Okay. So read the theory also very well. If you have any query, you can comment or you can message. Okay. So thank you. Stay at home. Be happy.